Tonight on SUTV News, we're highlighting new changes in the residence halls.
And the 2019 Outdoor Nation Challenge is into full swing.
All that and more right now.
Thanks for joining us on SUTV News. I'm Nolan Huffman.
And I'm Jacob Hitz. Living on campus this year is much different than it has been in the past. One notable change is in the laundry rooms. Students no longer have to pay the $3.50 to do a load of laundry. Students will now be able to wash and dry their clothes for free. Starting this year, incoming students are required to live on campus for 2 years. There are exceptions, however. If a student has a 3.2 GPA, they are allowed to move off campus. Additionally, because of the size of this year's freshman class, McLean Hall is now housing freshmen and graduate students this year. For more information about housing opportunities on campus, visit sutvnews.org. The annual Outdoor Nation Challenge has begun. The Association of Outdoor Recreation and Education is challenging students to get outside. From September 16th until October 13th, activities such as biking, running, hammocking, hiking, and much more will earn points for students and their schools. The school with the most points will earn prizes at the end of the challenge. It's as easy as downloading the AORECC app and posting pictures of outdoor activities. Shippensburg ranks first in the Mid-Atlantic region and needs your help to stay there. Check out oncampuschallenge.org to get involved.
A Shippensburg student has been recently appointed by current Governor Tom Wolf as the newest member of the Pennsylvania State System of Higher Education's Board of Governors. Avon Binniger, a senior here at Shippensburg, will be a part of the board that establishes broad educational, fiscal, and personal policies while also administering the efficient management of the system. We sat down with Binniger to discuss the position as well as his post-plans graduation. Binniger is a political science major with a minor in history and has been a big part of the Shippensburg community as he served as an orientation leader, resident assistant, and disciplinary board member. His official start to the Board of Governors begins once he is confirmed by the Pennsylvania State Senate and ends when he graduates next spring. Binniger will serve as the president of the Student Government Association during the 2019-2020 academic year. Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher Felipe Vasquez has been arrested and charged for sexual misconduct with an underage girl. Officials say the All-Star pitcher was taken into custody Tuesday morning on a warrant out of the Lee County, Florida. Investigators say they found out last month Vasquez had reported sexual relationship with a 13-year-old. They say the alleged victim, who is now 15, continued texting with Vasquez, and about 2 months ago he reportedly sent her an explicit video. Vasquez is facing charges of soliciting a child for unlawful sexual misconduct and giving obscene material to a minor. The Pirates say for now, Vasquez will be placed on administrative leave.
Legendary journalist Cokie Roberts passed away Tuesday after a battle with breast cancer. The 75-year-old's death was announced by ABC News. Roberts worked for the network for decades, where she covered U.S. and world politics. During her 40-year career, Roberts won 3 Emmys, published bestsellers, and reported on both television and radio. Roberts is survived by her husband, 2 children, and several grandchildren.
In addition to our Division II sports teams on campus, SHIP also has many opportunities for students to get involved with club sports programs on campus.
Let's send it to SUTV's Marlene Bowman with this week's Know Your SHIP.
SUTV has an entire segment dedicated to our athletics at SHIP, but rarely are we given the opportunity to put our club sports in the spotlight. The Shippensburg University Club Sports Program gives students the chance to explore new interests and participate in competitive sports. Each club is formed and ran by students within the guidelines that have been established by the Shippensburg University Government Association, or SGA, along with a coordinator of club sports. Because of this structure, the focus and dynamic of each club will vary. Besides the traditional soccer and football, SHIP also has cycling, fencing, and an equestrian club. For those with a little extra energy, we even have a boxing and Cronum club. There are also co-ed clubs such as ice hockey, the strength club, and our in-motion dance troupe. We even have both men and women's rugby, along with ultimate frisbee. If you didn't hear any of the clubs you were interested in, try starting your own. Requests to form a new student organization can be emailed to SGA. If you're considering joining a club sport, you must first complete a club sports release and indemnity agreement. Annual physical examination is also strongly recommended. For more information on these clubs, head to the information desk at the rec, reach out to club leadership, or visit sutvnews.org. That's it for this week's Know Your Ship. I'm Marley Bowman.
When we come back in world news, wildfires cause chaos in Indonesia.
And the Mexican government honors the victims of an earthquake that shook the city 34 years ago. What's coming up in the Slate this week? Michaela Volonio has this week's Slate preview. Michaela?
Coming up in the Slate on Tuesday, we will cover the field hockey team attempting to bounce back in their upcoming games, as well as SHAPE celebrating 20 years. Other stories include Constitution Day being held on campus, including a keynote speaker and a feature on our new member to our Shippensburg faculty. Be sure to pick up the next edition of the Slate in newsstands on and off campus or at theslateonline.com.
A Belgian Air Force flight gone wrong.
Brady Fisher has this week's world news. Brady?
Two pilots from the Belgian Air Force had to eject from their F-16 fighter jet after it had engine trouble and crashed near a home in western France. A home was damaged and the accident caused a fire near the house. One of the pilots had to be rescued after his parachute got stuck on a high voltage power line. Both pilots were treated for minor injuries. Authorities are investigating the crash. Local reports say there were no injuries to anyone in the home. Firefighters in Indonesia are battling massive wildfires on the island of Sumatra, as well as Kalimantan shown here. And the country's president is on his way to visit Sumatra. More than 5,600 firefighters are on the scene, with help from dozens of planes carrying water. Police say they have arrested 66 suspects in connection with the fires, and that companies may be responsible for some of them. September 19th marks the 34 years of an earthquake of magnitude 8.0 that shook the Mexican capital. In 2 years, on the same day, a 7.1 earthquake shook the earth again, causing serious damage to the capital and surrounding cities. At least 369 people died, and thousands of people were displaced. On Thursday, the government is commemorating and remembering the victims from the two earthquakes. Also, a drill will be carried out to reinforce evacuation protocols. Saudi Arabia is doing its best to try to prove that Iran was behind the devastating weekend attack on its oil facilities. A Saudi military spokesman literally laid out the evidence in Riyadh on Wednesday. The country says it has recovered debris from the attack on its oil facilities that ties Iran to the strikes. A Tokyo court has cleared 3 former executives of negligence for the 2011 Fukushima disaster. They were accused of negligence for failing to implement safety measures. Crowds gathered outside court Thursday ahead of the decision.
When we come back in entertainment, Seinfeld is finding a new home.
And the newest America's Got Talent winner will move you to tears. You know, I think it's starting to really feel like fall weather out there.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll stay that way.
Yeah. Let's take it with Drew Weibel with this week's weather.
This morning gave a glimpse of fall weather, but it seems the heat will continue. Tonight, clear skies and a low of 49. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and a high of 80. In the 5-day, Saturday, partly cloudy skies and a high of 85. Sunday, mostly sunny and a high of 89. And Monday through Wednesday, we've got partly cloudy skies and lows in the high 50s. Just in time for the Outdoor Nation Challenge, it looks like this weekend's weather will be perfect for an afternoon bike ride. I'm Drew Weibel, SUTV Weather.
A beloved NBC comedy will soon be making its way to a new streaming service. SUTV's Hannah Grady has the latest.
While viewers are counting down the days on saying farewell to Michael Scott and Chandler Bing, Netflix will be introducing some new, yet familiar characters soon. Netflix just signed a 5-year contract with one of the most popular sitcoms in TV history. Seinfeld, which ran from 1989 to 1998, follows the story of Jerry Seinfeld and his friends dealing with the absurdities of everyday life in New York City. The streaming service announced on Monday via Twitter that by 2021, all 180 episodes will be available to stream. Hannah Grady, SUTV News.
Netflix's biggest competitor, Hulu, already has the streaming rights, but the contract ends in 2021, when the series will move to its new home. I recently attended a showing of It Chapter 2. The film is the hotly anticipated follow-up to 2017's It Chapter 1 and continues the story of a monstrous entity which terrorizes a group of friends. Setting aside the inevitable comparisons to the initial entry, the movie should also be viewed in the context of its artistic legacy. Does It Chapter 2 hold up next to these prior renditions of the tale? And does it succeed on its own merits? The answer to both of these questions is a lamentable no. Despite magnificent efforts from the cast, including adult and teenage takes on the same characters at different ages, it too is hamstrung by the same faults as the book it is based upon. The movie is bloated, suffering from a meandering plot and a lack of meaningful editing. Unnecessary scenes and storylines abound like so many red balloons, and awkward artificial moments of comedy intrude abruptly upon the momentum of many sequences. As this is the year's biggest horror blockbuster, all its faults would be forgiven if it were at least terrifying. Sadly, it lacks the hair-raising menace of King's typical output. The jump scares are scarce, and worse yet, utterly predictable when they arrive. Overall, this movie is beautifully shot and weakly scripted. It Chapter 2 is ultimately undeserving of its impressive acting and lacks the scare factor of even the most garden variety birthday clown. One of the best seasons of America's Got Talent came to an emotional end this week. Cody Lee was born with optic nerve hypoplasia, which caused him to go blind, and was diagnosed with autism at age 4. Lee's win shows that America's Got Talent is more than a competition. It changes lives and shows that anything is possible. Saved by the Bell has been saved from obscurity. Tuesday, NBC announced it was rebooting the 80s hit series with 2 of the original cast members. The network says Elizabeth Berkley and Mario Lopez will reprise their roles as Jesse Spano and AC Slater. The show followed a group of teens attending the fictional Bayside High School in California. NBC says it will be one of several reboots planned to go on its new streaming platform, Peacock. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the original show's lead, Mark-Paul Gosselaar, may also return. The news site claims Mark-Paul Gosselaar would play California Governor Zach Morris. NBC plans to launch Peacock in April 2020.
When we come back in sports, a recap of Wednesday's field hockey game.
We have more after the break.
Shippensburg Raiders lost to Slippery Rock on their away game this Saturday. The Raiders scored only 19 points to the Rock's 54, with Slippery Rock's offense boasting a staggering 616 yards total, 411 passing yards, and 205 rushing. Ship started the game strong, scoring 10 points early in the first quarter, but could not hold back the Rock, who came back to score 48 consecutive points throughout the next 3 quarters. This puts the Raiders at 0-2 on the season as they prepare to face the Cal U Vulcans next week. Women's field hockey was back in action on Wednesday, and the Raiders were taking on Westchester. The Raiders were looking to shake off a 2-game losing streak, but the Rams had a different plan. Ship's goaltender Megan Lay stood tall in goal as she faced 16 shots on net. However, Westchester would end up coming on top, winning 1-0, extending Ship's losing streak to 3 games. Field hockey is back in action on Friday against Mercyhurst. Men's soccer hosted Bloomsburg to pick up their first win of the season. Jordan Hanley has more.
On Wednesday, men's soccer hosted Bloomsburg to kick off PSAC East play. We pick up just 2 minutes into the game as Corbin Martin sends one into the box as Seth Krabby tucks it into the corner to put the Raiders up 1-0. Not even 5 minutes later, Corey Ferguson cuts it in and hits side netting from 20 yards out to give the Raiders an early 2-0 lead. Shippensburg almost takes an early 3-0 lead off of this beautiful ball by Colin Marks, but Ferguson's header couldn't find the back of the net. Ship's lead was cut in half in the 73rd minute as Bryce Evans tucked it near post to bring the Huskies within 1. The whole game was chippy, but with 4 minutes left, keeper Bradley Brickman takes down a Husky. Brickman would receive a red card and set up Bloomsburg for a PK to tie the game up. But Ollie Whitman can't convert under pressure as he hits off the post, and Shippensburg hangs on to win 2-1. For SUTV Sports, I'm Jordan Hanley.
Men's soccer will be back in action as they host Millersville this Saturday. Women's soccer closed up the night at David C. Field Wednesday night. Jordan Hanley has more.
Ship hosted reigning PSAC champions Bloomsburg Wednesday under the lights. We pick up just 5 minutes left in the first half, and after a Husky mistake, Taylor Moore capitalizes and goes far post to put the Raiders up 1-0. In the 53rd minute, after a Raider foul, Bloomsburg's Lauren Holke takes the free kick and scores after keeper Delaney Shiflett tip job wasn't enough. Then, with 10 seconds left, take a listen.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Megan Callan's goal puts a nail in the coffin as the Huskies will go on to win 2-1. For SUTV Sports, I'm Jordan Hanley.
2, 1.
Despite the loss, junior goalkeeper Delaney Shiflett set a season-high 12 saves, just 2 shy of her career record. Ship will be back in action this Saturday at home as they host Millersville. Kickoff is at 4 o'clock. And that's it for sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
When we come back, a little boy and his siblings are reunited with their father.
Stay tuned. An exciting day for 4 siblings in Florida as their father, a Navy chief, surprised them at school. Tanya Rogers was there for the reunion.
Tell them that you guys are all here doing a story on school lunches, and we're going to bring some kids up to be interviewed.
Final instructions to senior chief Michael Forehand. He's surprising his 6th grade son Gabriel, who thinks his father is still in Iraq.
So the first student we'd like to come up, Gabriel Forehand.
The kids in the cafeteria first focusing on the school principal, then noticing senior chief Forehand walking into the room.
Your dad's in the back of the cafeteria.
In the crowd, Gabriel sees it's his dad. He hasn't seen his hero for 6 months. Gabriel not wanting to let go of his father, hugging him tightly, tears flowing. It's been an emotional day for the Forehand family. Forehand surprises 3 other kids earlier in the day at different schools. A family man making the best of the next 2 weeks before returning to Iraq.
Yeah, we're definitely going to relax, spend as much time as we can with each other. My wife is amazing. The fact that she can do all this by herself, I mean, you know, me being in Iraq, it's difficult.
A wife happy to have him home.
I am so happy that he's home and he gets to be with us and, you know, we get to be a family again.
A reunion that won't be forgotten. Tanya Rogers, WPTV News Channel 5.
I tell you what an incredible story to end on.
Yeah, definitely the type of story you love to see, really do. That's it for SUTV News. I'm Nolan Hoffman.
And I'm Jacob Hitz. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at SUTV News, and check out our website, sutvnews.org.
We'll see you next week.